Okay, welcome to 10,000 Satoshis. We're back this week, and this time we're with Justin, uh, developer, Fedi guy. We'll get more into what Justin does here. But I wanted to sit down and talk with him so maybe he can explain to me. I can't be the only one that doesn't get everything, right? And especially Fedi. And he can explain the naming convention, the what Fedi is, what it does, and a little bit about what he's working on. So, this is just a podcast for the Twin Cities, for us, by us. Uh, we might not always know what everybody else is working on and what people are up to. So I just wanted to sit down and document it and see what Justin's up to. So who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I think it's a great idea to highlight local Bitcoiners, so it's an honor to be here. Yeah, my name is Justin. Been working on Fedimint. So yeah, Fedi's the company.
Yep.
Fedi's the company.
Before we get into that.
Yeah, sure.
You are Justin and you are who?
I am Justin and I am Satoshi.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of these days, I promise I'm going to put these all together and get everybody saying it. So sorry. So Fedimint is start again with the Fedimint.
Yeah, so Fedimint's open source protocol for like community custody on Bitcoin. A little bit more deeper, it's a federated eCash mint. So federated means that it's not centralized, but it's not like totally decentralized. Or it's not as decentralized as Bitcoin. It's a federation is like a set of users that come together to create this eCash mint. So in typical deployments, we see like four we call them guardians. They're really just servers that are run by people. You can do higher than that. You can do like 7, but we can get into that.
Before we get too into the weeds, okay, so that's who you're working for now.
So I'm an open source developer. So I'm funded right now by OpenSats and Spiral.
Okay. We'll get into that too.
Yeah, but I don't work for Fedi. Fedi is a different company. They obviously provide a lot of resources and stuff to the open source project, but I'm an independent software developer.
And by the time we're done with this, I'm going to fully understand how Fedi works.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, we'll get into
this video is going to be like 10 hours long, but I'm pretty thick-skulled, so it might take a while. But before we get into the nuts and bolts, what's one thing you like about living in Minnesota?
For me, it's the people. My family's here. A lot of my friends are here. I've met a ton of great people through the meetups. Shout out tcbitcoin.com. I'll get
the sponsor of the show.
Yeah, I'll get your ad read in.
Perfect segue.
So I love being here. The winters are quite cold, obviously, but the summers are the best here. We have the best lakes and everything. So the people and the nature is just awesome with Minnesota. So.
All right. So beyond Minnesota, how did you get into Bitcoin? How did you fall down the rabbit hole?
Sure.
And what got you in?
Yeah. So I had a few touch points with Bitcoin. Some of I had a close friend that was into it before me, and he was looking into it. But I didn't really. I suppose I didn't really truly like have the 0 to 1 moment until I was in college. So I went to school at the University of Wisconsin Madison. I'm a Badger, and
we won't hold that again.
Yeah. So my at the time he was my security professor. So I was studying computer science, and my security professor he put on our final. A question about Bitcoin. So we had to like read the white paper, and yeah, I think there's only like 5 questions on these tests. They're pretty short, but they're like written answers, right? And so we had to like read the white paper, study it, and then answer some questions on the final. So I remember reading about it, and he did a lecture about it, and yeah, like for me, the thing that was really interesting about it was the mining part. The mining part was kind of, I thought the proof of work and like the grinding until you find enough zeros in front of the hash such that it meets a difficulty target. That was really interesting to me. That was kind of like wow, that's a pretty cool concept. So that got me into it initially. I actually still have the tests and my answers and stuff, which is kind of fun to look back on. But Yeah, since then I like.
Would you change your answers today?
I did pretty well. I think looking back on it, I got a few things wrong. Or now it's like, oh, okay, that was slightly incorrect, but I'm still proud of what I put down back then.
So you got it into. By the way, I want to get the person you're talking about, your friend,
Yeah,
on the show, but
yeah. Won't
I
dox
won't
him.
dox him
Yeah,
yet.
he's also a Minneapolis Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you're watching, I'm coming for you. So you just had a slow into it. So you had these questions about in the class, and then when was the first time you bought, or what made you get over the
Yeah.
theoretical hurdle to actually get in? And
So that was probably like my first touch point with like the technical side. For me, it probably took a little bit longer to get around on like the monetary aspects of it. That was probably a few years later. So, like others, I was interested in some shit coins and stuff in the beginning, and I still think they're kind of interesting technical puzzles sometimes. Like other coins do things a little bit differently that you can actually study and like look how they impact on Bitcoin, right? So. For me, it was yeah, like first was interested, and it took me a few years, maybe on the monetary side, to become more convinced and have more conviction and stuff. But yeah, since then I've been just obsessed, reading everything that I can. So yeah.
So you left school, went to work, did the corporate gig, right?
Yeah.
What inspired you to take the leap into the Bitcoin world?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked at Microsoft for like nine years. I was part-time for a few of those, but yeah, at Microsoft I wasn't working on any like my background is more in like databases and cloud systems. So at Microsoft I worked on SQL Azure, which is like their cloud database product. So I worked on like the cloud system part of it. I've also worked on various other parts of the database, like data processing, stuff like that. But to like what prompted the leap was more just honestly the meetups and stuff. I'd been into Bitcoin for a while. I was still working at Microsoft. They're kind of two separate worlds at the time. I started hanging out with all the crazy Bitcoiners at the meetups, and Brandon definitely just through peer pressure, tried to get me to work on some Bitcoin stuff. So then my first real like I'd done like random small projects with it, but never like really dive deep into like open source development. And yeah, then I heard about Fedimint and started looking into it and making a few PRs and kind of just got sucked in that way. So yeah, I'd say just peer pressure and curiosity was kind of what it came down to.
So you started contributing to Fedimint.
Fedimint, yeah.
I'll get it right one of these times. But so you started contributing, and then you mentioned at the beginning that you've received OpenSats and Spiral grants.
Yep.
What role did that play in like saying, "All right, see you, Bill Gates, I'm out of here"? What role did the grants play in allowing you to make the leap? Or
Yeah, it was huge, right? Because it's tough leaving big tech just for monetary reasons, right?
the golden handcuffs,
A little
right?
bit, yeah. I mean the not that like getting paid a lot is like my first priority or anything. I think
It doesn't hurt anything though.
yeah, well, as far as but like at some point you got to pay the bills too, right?
Right.
And having financial support is massive. So that those organizations I think are huge, and they're doing great things for Bitcoin, allowing other people to get into the space as well. So yeah, I got my first grant from Spiral, and yeah, at the time I didn't have much open source experience at all. I was kind of just going off of my my experience through Microsoft and with my computer science degree. So I tried to like initially when coming in, I tried to take like the skills I had and try to apply it to the project. So at the beginning I was working on a lot of the database integration stuff, which fits with my
Sure.
background. and yeah, it was a pretty good fit. Again, kind of you do that and it kind of morphs over time, right? You can start to look at other areas of the system and
I should stop for a second here for the
yeah.
people that don't know what is OpenSats and what is Spiral.
Sure. Yeah. So Spiral is a subsidiary of Block, Jack Dorsey's company.
Love them, hate them.
Yeah. Jack provides a lot of funding just through various other, not just Spiral, but Spiral is specifically they're focused on Bitcoin open source development. They have a few employees, but then they also have this grant program. So they funded me, and then they funded various other Bitcoin developers. OpenSat's a very similar thing. They're a nonprofit. So yeah, they funded a lot of people that have done a lot of good work, in my opinion. So yeah, very grateful to those organizations. I probably wouldn't be able to do what I do without them. So
out of everything you're building right now, what excites you the most?
that's there's a lot to be excited, I think, about in Bitcoin. So on the Fedimint side, I can talk about that for a little bit. I don't want to get too deep in the woods on the technical side, but so Fedimint, like I said, open source, federated eCash system. But one like core tenet of how it works is that there's like these guardians. They're like the servers that actually custody the Bitcoin. And then there's the clients that interact with them. And the clients are the ones that hold the eCash.
So we might as well get into
yeah.
Fedi. Let's get into Fedi
Sure.
right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's at a Fedimint is a multi-sig.
Sure.
So these guardian servers, like I said, you can have like 4. You can technically have 1, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the federated part. So they hold Bitcoin in a multi-sig. And then the servers then issue out what's called eCash. And
so why would let's say I'm Joe user, right?
Sure.
Why would I want to give my Bitcoin to somebody, to a federation, to 4 people?
Yeah.
Or 3 people? What is it? 3,
Yeah,
5 or
the most common deployment is 4.
4. Okay.
4. But you can do like 4. You can do 7,
Okay.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would I want to park my Bitcoin with a federation?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I'll preface with it, like it doesn't replace self-custody, right? So I don't think anyone working on Fedimint would say that it's like a self-custody replacement. But it is a nice, like, different set of trade-offs for using Bitcoin. So I guess the main problem that a lot of people would be interested in is that it's a very easy Lightning wallet. Lightning today, you can use like a self-custodial option like Phoenix or Zeus, or run your own node like LND or Core Lightning. All those come with some trade-offs, and depending on who you are, those might be acceptable. So for instance, like if you run your own LND node, you have to like manage the liquidity and open your channels and make sure you have inbound. Which yeah, for a lot of people. They probably can do it, but they just don't want to.
Guilty.
Yeah. So Fedimint makes that a bit easier, but at a trade-off. So the trade-off is that you give custody of your Bitcoin to the federation, but you don't have to run a Lightning node, and you can use on-chain sort of and eCash very seamlessly. So yeah, it takes a lot of the complexity around like Lightning away, and then you also get this method of payment with eCash that's really private. Maybe it's worth talking a little bit about how that works.
Sure. So what makes it more private than Lightning?
Yeah, well, so Lightning, I don't want to FUD Lightning. Lightning's already pretty private. Sure. I'd suppose what most people would say would be Lightning on the receive part is the one thing right now where in Lightning, if you want to receive, you give someone like a Bolt 11 invoice. And in that invoice, unless you do some other stuff, you dox your pub key of your node, which could potentially be identified back to you, depending on other metadata and stuff. But
Someone like me, my OPSEC's perfect, so they'd never trace it back. But
yeah, but sending on Lightning is already pretty
yep, okay.
private.
So the eCash. So what's the difference
Yeah,
there?
so in eCash again, different set of trade-offs. It's what eCash is it's technically just a nonce and a public key, so it's a long string. And what happens is the mint will what's called blind sign this long string. So just a bunch of characters and numbers and stuff. And the blind signature is the part that makes it that kind of gives it this privacy property, because what can happen is, like, say I get some eCash from the mint because I gave it some Bitcoin. I get this, we call them notes. They're kind of analogous to like dollar bills. A dollar bill is actually a pretty good analogy, where I can give this like note to you, same way I can give you like a $20 bill, and there's essentially no record of that. So in eCash, what would happen is I would give you this note, and you would go back to the mint and say, I want to reissue this note. So I want you to give me in exchange for this note, give me a new note, essentially.
More would it be more along the lines of a check? So you give me a check for $20, I give it to my bank, and then they give me the credit for.
Maybe like it's a poker chip is probably actually the best analogy, like at a casino, where like at a casino you go and you give them some money and they give you or chips in return, right? And at any point the casino has your money, so that's where like the custodial part is. But at any point you can go and take these chips and redeem them for your like your cash back or whatever. And the privacy property is that same way with the casino chips, you can give these to other people, and the mint in this case, or like the casino in the analogy, they don't know like who gave who which note.
So once it leaves the casino, or once it leaves the mint, they don't know where it's going or where it's been.
Well, it doesn't. Well, it's not. It's just just inside the mint for right now is what we're talking. Not leaving the mint. But again, like the casino analogy, say you're playing blackjack, you get 20 chips. You go and you win, say you win 50 chips. Now you want to get those, you want to redeem that for your cash. You can go back to the casino and get your money back. They don't know if those coins that you're giving them are your coins that you got from the beginning. They could be coins that someone gave you. Like, they don't know any of the intermediate transactions, essentially. So from the proper word is like the custodial privacy is very good. Like the custodian cannot essentially spy on your transactions.
So that's one benefit.
Yep.
And then you started touching on the Lightning benefit too.
Yeah.
Where the Fedimint would manage liquidity, basically. Is that what?
Yeah. So that's the eCash side, and the eCash is like only within a mint. But as you're mentioning, like you kind of want to connect these things to the broader like Bitcoin ecosystem. And what's happening these days is like even other L2 systems like Arc and stuff, like Lightning is becoming the glue between these other systems. And so yeah, you can what we have is what's called a Lightning gateway. So the Federation takes care of the eCash and the on-chain custody, and then to do Lightning payments, there's this other component that's an untrusted component. So the gateway never custodies your funds, but it can send and receive Lightning payments on your behalf. So if you're inside of Fedimint and you want to send a Lightning transaction, essentially what happens is you do a swap, similar to like if you were using the Boltz API, or like Aqua. The Aqua wallet does a similar thing with Liquid. Where you'd exchange eCash for the gateway to do a Lightning payment for you. So yeah, you can use Lightning with Fedimints via this gateway part, and it still preserves the privacy of the end users.
So what's another use case, or where do you see this rolling out in the real world? And because I mean, before they shut the Mutiny project down, they were talking about it'd be eCash until you got enough to make a Bitcoin withdrawal, and you know. So where do you see Fedi fitting in the real world, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's still a pretty good use case. Mutiny kind of lives on in Harbor wallet now. Harbor is just an eCash wallet, not the Lightning self custody part, but they still have that functionality. And wallets are actually doing that now. So like Zeus wallet, for instance, they have cashew support, which is the more centralized version of Fedimint. So I think that's a very valid use case. I think sort of the primary, like where you might see users wanting to use this is like inside communities. So like, and the Fedi company, they've really targeted this use case where, in like in certain communities, there's maybe like a handful of like trusted technical people that know how these systems work and are trusted to operate like a server. And that would be so like in that instance, maybe these you can call them guardians. These guardians would come together to do this mint, and they could offer that as a service to their community. So I think that's a very valid use case. Like meetups could potentially run them, something like that, yeah. Or like communities, overseas, we've seen some interest in other other countries and stuff.
So because I'm just shooting from the hip here,
yeah,
but very very small Bitcoin transactions are tough.
yeah.
Right? Does this help with that? So I know if it's federation, if we're both in the same federation,
Mm-hmm.
the fees are negligible, right?
They can be, yeah. So
or is it up to the guardians?
yeah, I can expand on that. I guess so. The reason why you say small payments are tough, just to back up, like on chain it's tough because of the fees, right?
Right.
In Lightning, it's still kind of hard. You can do it in Lightning, but there's this like sort of edge case where if you do a transaction that's kind of lower than like the on-chain fees, that HTLC is not really enforceable on chain.
Sure.
Meaning that if that were to have, like, if the HTLC had to go on chain, it would just be eaten up to fees anyway.
Or if you don't have direct channels, the fees might be more than the payment too.
Well, if Lightning is, well, I guess that depends on the route. But
right.
Yeah. So there's like in Lightning you can do it, but there's challenges. On the eCash side in Fedimint, today, yeah, we have pretty low fees, and that's partly because it's a custodial system. Now there probably will be more fees in the future. There's going to be fees to prevent DOS and stuff like that. But we can keep them pretty low, and yeah, the fees will likely be much lower than what might be, say, certainly on-chain fees. And
well, not right now.
Not right now. Like, they're really cheap right now. But
just do everything on chain.
Yeah. But yeah, does that kind of answer your question? It's like partly because it's custodial, we can make it work, but there are fees in Fedimint.
Well, I'm just trying to flesh out the reasons that somebody would be interested in Fedimint versus just figuring out a Lightning wallet or and especially if you were in underdeveloped or underbanked areas.
Definitely. Yeah.
The fees might be a real thing where an extra 20 cents might be a big deal.
Yeah, and like you said, if you're in the same federation and you're sending eCash to someone, that's always going to be really cheap. Probably the cheapest way to send. But again, you have the trade-off of custody.
So I think I've asked you this before. Is there so as Fedimint starts gaining some steam, there's all these different federations. Is there a plan, or is there something that's going to say Fedimint to Fedimint, or is that always going to be Lightning?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. So we actually already kind of have something like that today, where Lightning is always the glue. So if you're in a Fedimint and you want to pay another user, and you don't know what wallet they're using, they could be using Aqua, Zeus, their own LND node, whatever. The user experience there is always going to be like you're paying a Lightning invoice or something, or a Bolt 12 or whatever it is. But already today, what you can do is these gateways are kind of like the last hop in the Lightning Network. So you can, if you picture it like the Lightning Network is a bunch of channels that form a graph, the gateways are the like edge nodes that make a one last connection to a federation. But gateways can connect to multiple federations. So what happens already today is if you're running a gateway that's connected to, say, 2 or more federations, if you pay from one federation to the other, it actually doesn't go over Lightning at all. It just does it. The gateway will do a swap for you. And yeah, there's cheaper fees when you do that as well.
So that to me makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Where if there's enough of it, you could keep or have a layer 2, right? Or is it a layer 3? Is this a layer 2 or a layer 3?
I don't want to give a definitive answer. You could look at it as a way of scaling, but again, there's the trade-off of custody, right? So I don't want to. I think a lot of people, when they refer to like scaling Bitcoin, they're referring to scaling self-custody, and that's not really what this is. But it does potentially scale like getting just more users onto Bitcoin if you count like eCash users as
Right.
Bitcoin users. Yeah.
So, and I've said this to you before, is this, with the custodial model, is this like Wells Fargo? Is not saying that it's not all the negative connotations that come with bankers, right? But when I put my money at Wells Fargo, I'm trusting them as my custodians of my money.
Yeah.
Is that similar to this? And then Wells Fargo in return gives me a Visa card that allows me to spend anywhere. Is that sort of what Fedimint could be?
That's a decent analogy. Yeah, again, I don't like the bank analogy as well, but I mean,
everybody hates bankers, right?
Yeah. Hal Finney though had a quote like that, right? Where in the early days he was talking about banks that were backed by Bitcoin, and that's essentially what this is. I will say, like, if that's that is a decent analogy, but there's things that we can do like in eCash and in Bitcoin that will make banks obsolete.
Maybe it's the
right?
anti-bank because there won't be KYC, right?
Ideally, yeah. I mean, there's things like I think Kale had a post on this, and internally in Fedimint we talked about this as well. But because it's programmatic money, we can do things like automated bank runs. I'm not aware of anyone doing this in the eCash realm, but you can do that where like you have like these say like sessions, and you say everyone that's in the mint has to do like a reissue essentially within this amount of time and get a new note, and that essentially proves that the mint is solvent, so that the mint is not essentially printing money out of eCash out of thin air. And so that would help with the custodial assumption, right? If you had these sort of programmatic bank runs, it could maybe give some users a bit more confidence in like the trustworthiness of the mint.
Well, if it's programmed though, wouldn't the Guardians know when it's coming? And
yeah, there's potential games you can play there, but the shorter that window is, the lot harder that is.
If it happens every 24 hours, that'd be
there's trade-offs of doing that, but that's the idea. And with normal banks, you can't do stuff like this, right?
Well, you don't trust regular banks? they wouldn't make money out of thin air, would they?
No,
of
course not.
So okay, so we start touching on it. What are some of the other possibilities that might not be here with Fedi, but things you see that could be adopted or?
Yeah. There's a lot of we're working on some cool stuff.
Well, give me all the dirt.
I mean, we just need more time and more resources. That's really all it is. Let's see. So Fedimint from the very beginning has been like a module system. And what I mean by that is like the eCash functionality is not just like programmed into the base system. There's different sort of smart contracts that you can build. So you can actually build your own like federated application on Fedimint. You can even do this today. There's some hurdles, but so right now the way it works is we have three modules. We have the wallet module, which does the multi-sig custody. We have the Lightning module, which does the like HTLC kind of smart contract stuff. And then we have the eCash module. So like that's kind of the core modules for the system. But you can build really anything you want. So as a demo, I built like a little Nostr signing module where the federation can sign. It's called Roaster. It uses Roast, and it can sign like a Nostr note and broadcast that, and where the signature essentially can be verified against the public key of the federation. So that's kind of cool. But so stuff like that, you can kind of make Fedimint have more capabilities through the module system.
So what incentive besides the virtuous I want to help my community, what incentives would there be for people to set up a Fedimint?
For running one? Yeah. Well, potentially monetary. Again, we don't have there are ways to make money running one of these things, but you can also run them without fees, without making money. That would be one incentive, depending on your jurisdiction and your community. Other than that, yeah, it's mainly about, I'd say, providing like infrastructure and ease of use for privacy tools. I think that's important.
So speaking of tools, what other tools are you working on or are coming out, or because we talked about Mutiny and that kind of went away.
Yeah.
And so right now, basically, the only thing is the Fedi app itself, right?
Right. So you've mentioned Fedi a few times, and they're a company. They have their own app on the App Store and Android. I believe they actually have a PWA as well. But there's actually a bunch of other Fedimint wallets as well. There's one called Viper, which is another PWA. There's Harbor Wallet.
What do you mean by PWA?
PWA is a progressive web app.
Okay.
It can run
like Mutiny was. Yeah.
Like Mutiny was. Yeah. It can run on your phone and in a web browser. And so there's Viper. There's Harbor Wallet, which is I kind of see as the successor to Mutiny, developed by Ben Carmen and Paul and those guys. So.
Harbor is by Ben?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been working on that.
I didn't know that.
And our another Minneapolis Bitcoiner has been contributing to that as well.
You're coming on soon.
But so we've also been working on our own wallet. That's what part of the announcement for today. Yeah. So we have a wallet called the eCash app.
How did you ever come up with that name?
Shout out to it wasn't my idea. It was Justin Moon's idea. Shout out Justin. Yeah, so that's what we're calling it. You can get it at it's right now it's Android only, and it's just a Fedimint wallet. So you can use it to join federations. We have on-chain support it's like first class on-chain support. Whereas I think most eCash wallets these days are Lightning only. We have Lightning, we have eCash, and we have on-chain. So you can use all three of those today. We also have Nostr Wallet Connect. So if you want to connect the wallet to your Nostr account and zap from it, you can do that. We have Lightning Address, so you can claim your Lightning address and use that to receive zaps. And yeah, it's available on Zap Store right now, and on ecash.love is our
ecash.love.
HTTPS ecash.love.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have played with this app.
Okay.
And it is a very, very smooth Lightning. I haven't done any on chain.
You should. Get it going. Yeah.
I don't know. On chain seems serious to me, and so playing with Lightning and eCash, I can do that all day long. But ecash.love, they can download their Android from there.
Yeah, you can download there's a big button that says download APK. You just press that and it'll download.
Yeah, and it's very easy because I figured it out. So.
Yeah, exactly. Testament. A couple other things we have. We have NIP 87 support. So
What is NIP 87?
NIP 87 is the Nostr NIP for discovering eCash mints. So it's compatible with Cashew as well. So you can use that to find different federations to join. So if you download the app, you don't have a federation to join, you can join one of the public ones that are advertised through that. We also have like, because something that's unique to Fedimint is that all the funds are held in a on-chain multisig, right? That's the whole point of having it federated. And so you can, the app directly exposes some of the internals of how like Fedimint works. So in the app, you can directly see the UTXOs of the federation, for instance. And we have links to mempool.space. You can see where your custodial Bitcoin is.
So I put half a Bitcoin in, and the UTXO says they've only got 0.01. Should I be concerned?
If you do that, you should be able to see it on chain, right?
No, that's a really cool feature. So
Yeah.
so a user can see that at least the cumulative amount of the Fedimint, right?
They can, well, if they went, the way we have it exposed is just a list of UTXOs. You can see the cumulative amount if you go to like Fedimint Observer.
Yeah.
So there's ways to get that data. But yeah, you can see.
Or they could add all the UTXOs.
They could add them all up. Yep, that's another way of doing it. So yeah, it's just, and like you can see that like say a UTXO is spent from, you can see like, okay, that was a 3 or 4 multisig, for instance. We're not lying about the script that's being used for the Fedimint. So yeah, we want to add other stuff like an audit of the mint. That's actually, in Fedimint today, we have a feature where you can ask the mints like how many outstanding eCash notes are there versus how much Bitcoin is in reserve. And you can verify that it's, again, they can lie to you, but like if they're honest, you can verify that it's like there's more Bitcoin than there is eCash issued. And that's something we'd like to eventually like expose in the app as well. So yeah, a lot of cool features to play around with in there.
No, you know what? It really is it is really a good. It's a good Lightning wallet. Actually, one of the things that intrigues me the most about Fedimint, and I've played with this between your wallet, eCash app,
yeah,
eCash app, and I've played with that to the Fedi wallet, and doing offline payments.
Yeah,
can you explain that a little bit to, just because I think that's actually a really cool feature that of eCash.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun, it's unique to eCash, right? Where you can do these like person-to-person transfers, because again, like we said before, eCash is just a long string. That's all it is, and it's a bearer instrument. So like you can, if you have the string, you have the money, right? If I have the string, I have the money. And yeah, the way it works in both Fedi and the eCash app is to send. You can either just like send them the string like over Signal or something, and then you can redeem, like the other person can then redeem it that way, just copying it into the app.
Yep.
Or you can use the QR code scanner, and that's kind of neat because it's like an animated QR, and the eCash app is compatible with Fedi as well, so you can. The way it works is like your phone will show you a little animated QR code, and the other phone just sits there and scans it. It'll give you a little spinner as far as like the progress, and then boom, the transfer's done. So yeah, pretty cool, and that can actually be used for offline payments. There's a bit of a nuance there that I'll mention. Like offline payments in Fedimint and eCash, they're actually really easy. Essentially, like I said, you just give them a string, and so you can do that via QR code. The caveat is that when you have the string and I have the string, that's essentially a double spend, right? That's kind of what.
So who gets online first?
Exactly. So like the idea is that as long as you trust me not to double spend you, then that's a fine exchange. But ideally, in order to make sure you're not double spent, you need to come online and go to the mint and say, give me a new eCash note. But it's just a nice set of trade-offs. Like you can do that. Offline payments in Lightning are very hard. I know they're
I didn't even know they were a thing.
There's a spec for like async payments in Lightning, but it's difficult and it's going to take some time. And yeah, that's a major advantage of eCash actually, is that using that is.
We should move. I get that the offline things is possible for Lightning, but
Yeah,
it's really easy.
it's really easy in eCash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'll throw the clip in, but I was watching a video of Joe Nakamoto, the guy for I think Bitcoin Magazine or whoever he works for.
Yeah.
But he was in Africa, and the merchant didn't have enough or didn't have online minutes left on her phone, and it was, it turned into a big problem for them.
Right.
And this could actually just be like, well, she doesn't think somebody's gonna go double spend her, and she could wait and then batch all her things and then get online and get all her money back.
Yeah, and that was this argument of like, oh, if you trust the sender to not double spend you, that's actually like an old Bitcoin argument where when like there was first a push for getting merchants onto like on-chain Bitcoin, again, no one wants to sit around for 10 minutes for coffee, confirmation, yeah. Right? For a coffee, yeah. So like the argument kind of there went like, okay, it's very unlikely someone's gonna double spend your $5 coffee. Just accept the zero conf and take on the risk of a reorg or a double spend there. It's a similar trade-off in eCash where if you can't come online right now, again, as long as you trust the sender, you can do that transaction offline. So we do have a feature called redeem when online in eCash, the eCash app. So if you redeem some eCash but you don't have internet access, you can just press that and then leave the app open, and when you get internet access again, it'll redeem the money. So
automatic. That's
automatic, yeah.
No, there's so many possibilities, and it's like, I think you touched on it at the beginning. It's not a replacement of self custody, but for these small amounts, or what we'd call walking around money, right?
Right. Yeah. It's a nice set of trade-offs, I think, and Fedimint even like separate from Cashew, because Cashew is a very similar.
I haven't played with Cashew enough.
Yeah, Cashew's cool. It's it's eCash. The cryptography is a bit different, but
I do have 15 sats from Gary though.
Oh yeah.
Shout out.
They so they're centralized though, and
right.
So there's more trade-offs in the custody part of Cashew, mainly because you really have to trust the operator there, whereas ideally with Fedimint, it's a bigger, the trust is more spread out, and also I guess on that point too, the Fedimint has a nice availability profile because it's default federated. If one node goes down, say for like an upgrade or something, it still stays online, right? Whereas with Cashew, it's harder to do that. But yeah, nice set of trade-offs.
So how does Fedimint compare to like other projects? Because isn't Aqua, or not Aqua, Liquid? Thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't Liquid also a federation? How does Fedimint compare to something like Liquid?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you can kind of put these things on a spectrum somewhere. I'd say Liquid is like a 15-member federation or something. Yep. And Liquid uses different cryptography as well, but it has some cool privacy properties too. They have confidential transactions on Liquid. But I'd say, yeah, the idea with Fedimint is that there's more of these things that are like more local to communities.
Decentralized?
Decentralized in that it's still centralized mint, but there's more of them.
More centralized mints.
Yeah, whereas with Liquid, they have a more decentralized federation, but there's only one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they, in order to do that, there's some advantages of doing that too, right? I think with Liquid, if I recall correctly, I thought they had like specialized hardware for running the actual federation.
They have their own blockchain, don't they?
It's their own blockchain, but I think there's actually higher requirements for running like a liquid federation member. Again, don't quote me on that. I'm not in on the details.
You don't claim
there.
to be a liquid expert?
No, I don't know. But with Fedimint, it's designed to run on like commodity hardware. You know, something like an Umbrel or a Start9.
Okay, now you touched on it.
Transition, yeah.
Now you touched on it. So speaking of Umbrel, is there any news with Umbrel?
Fedimint is now available on Umbrel and Start9. Start9, it's in the alpha registry right now. You can sideload the package, and hopefully.
Hold that thought. So
Yeah.
anybody that doesn't know, Umbrel and Start9 are sort of out of the box, easy to run nodes
Right.
and applications on top of them. So
yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to keep it at my level.
Right. They're a great way of running like a Bitcoin node. I think awesome option.
You could even run knots on them.
You can run knots. You can run.
You could run core.
You can run core. You can run Libra relay. They have all. Well, Umbrel does. I'm not sure about Start9, but
I've never played with Start9. I do mess with Umbrel. So.
Okay. Yeah. It's a really good option for running various like server like things on your own hardware. Which is exactly the use case we want for Fedimint. We want sort of, more normal people being able to run these things, not needing to be like a Linux system administrator to do it.
So the people familiar with this will make perfect sense. In both of those, I can go in there if I'm running Umbrel and I can find the Fedi app now.
It's called Fedimint. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so from my Umbrel, I can start my own federation, or
you can.
Then I need 3 friends.
You don't. So you technically can do it with
That's
one.
a hard ask for me. To have 3 friends.
Yeah, that's why you gotta go to the meetups. That's where you meet your friends. You get that would be the idea. Is you get 3 of your other buddies together, and if you all have Umbrels or Start9, or a little bit of Docker experience, you can also run it that way. You can set one of these things up. And so on Umbrel, it's really simple. It's like one click install, and it'll give you a little web page that sort of walks you through how to set it up, and you're running an eCashment at that point. So
drop a comment in the a comment below, and let me know your federation, and I want to join it. So
there you go.
This podcast is going to have probably 100 Fedimints launched just in the Twin Cities from just this podcast, right?
Yeah, we'd love more people, using the software, getting feedback and stuff.
So let's say I magically had 3 friends, and they were on Umbrel. So we'll keep it easy, right? All 4 of us are on Umbrel. What does it take? So I do the 1-click download.
Yeah.
And then what? So then do I have to send Bitcoin to set it up, or how does and then how do I get the Lightning gateway from?
Yeah, so the setup's pretty straightforward. Like you said, all 4 of you would need to install it on your Umbrel. There's a bit of a UI that walks you through. Essentially what happens at the beginning is, in order to create the mint, you need to do something called distributed key generation. So distributed key generation essentially will give you 1 key in the multisig that holds the Bitcoin. So the actual process is you sign up, and you're given like this string, and you have to get that string to your other guardians. So you have your strings for all the other guardians. Your guardians have all these other strings for everyone else. And then at that point, you just click launch, give it a few minutes because it has to do its communication and the cryptography necessary to generate those keys. And then at that point, you're set up. You're good to go. But yes, like you said, you don't have Lightning yet, because Lightning requires this separate gateway portion. So at that point, you can use on-chain. Before even getting into Lightning, you can just peg in on-chain and it will work. You can use the eCash app for that if you wanted to. But to get Lightning, if you're running your own federation, you need to attach a Lightning gateway. So running a Lightning gateway is trust-wise, like I said, similar to running a Lightning node. there's no custody involved with running a gateway. So we're actually running one on sort of behalf of the Fedimint community. So if you want a federation and you want like some liquidity, we can connect our gateway.
Oh, really?
And,
Okay.
yeah, we've been offering that service, or you can run your own. The technical details of running your own gateway are a bit more. It's a bit harder, and I can explain like the whole reason why we were doing, like why Fedimint is able to do this Umbrel and Start9 thing is that we've integrated this library called IRO. We don't have to get into the technical details, but
That's good.
IRO essentially allows like all these components to talk peer-to-peer. So it does like what's called hole punching, and it uses relays to set that up. So that's what allows like your guardian on Umbrel to talk to another guardian on Umbrel essentially. So right now we don't have the gateway on IRO. That's still being developed. We're working on that, and that will hopefully be available in a few months or
Come
something.
on, what am I paying all this money for? One of the trade-offs of FOSS, right?
Yeah,
is you don't get everything out of the box right away, polished, right?
But we were excited to launch. Launch this, yeah. So we'll hopefully get gateways easier for others to run. But right now, if you have like Docker experience, you can run your own, or you can be connected to the sort of official Fedimint one.
So that connection, do they have to reach out to Fedimint? Who do they reach out to?
Reach out on Discord. We have a Discord. Just drop a message there, and we'll get in contact and get you set up. Fedimint Discord, yeah. And you can find that on our GitHub. So
I'll put a link to the GitHub in the description.
Awesome, yeah.
In the whatever the things are.
Yeah.
I'm so technical here. So before I move on, anything else about Fedimint that I haven't asked you?
Yeah. So I mentioned the modules. I mentioned the eCash app. So would love more feedback on the eCash app.
Download it. Download it.
Start9 and Umbrel. We made, like I said, with this IRO library, we made a lot of progress in making Fedimints easier to set up. Small tangent. A while back.
Let me circle back to something. Keep going.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. A while back, I think in like the 0. I can't remember which release it was, but Fedimint used to be reliant on domain names. So you had like you'd run a server and you'd have a domain name that pointed to that server. And we had a federation that they were using a domain name that was XYZ.
Can I dox them? Freedom.
I don't remember which one it was.
It was
actually.
Freedom 1.
Was it Freedom 1? Yeah, they.
I might have had stats there, but yeah.
Their DNS provider, essentially rugged them on the DNS, the domain name, and it put the federation in a really tough spot. So, the IRO library is kind of a downstream effect from that, but it's also just really cool as it's a cool library. So, because it can do this hole punching thing. It allows you to, that's what the Start9 and Umbrel thing, and you can run it on your own hardware, but you can theoretically kind of run it on anything. So we actually I have an experimental app right now that allows you to run a Fedimint Guardian on a phone. You can like download it, it's another app. You can download it, and the same way that you set up a federation using Umbrel, you can use this app to do set up an eCash app, or an eCash mint on your phone. So that's kind of cool. I just think that's kind of cool.
Say that again. So on my phone, but would the phone then have to be online, or
the phone? It needs to be turned on.
Right.
So if it dies, it's the same way like your server going down or something like that. But the idea would be like you could buy like a really cheap phone. Say you're in a developing country or something. You can't maybe you don't even want to buy like a Start9 just due to like the theft risk or something. You could get like a really cheap phone, like $100 or something, and you could run this Fedimint D app, and just keep it in a corner, like charging all the time.
Keep it plugged in, yeah.
And it could be your eCashment. You can run eCashment on a phone, so
that's pretty neat.
It's sort of all enabled by this IRO library thing. yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
We're gonna need to have you back and have charts and flow charts and how these things work because
Yeah.
so I mean
I like the idea of a mobile eCashment too. Like that server, because it's on a phone, it can move around.
right.
And like the connections, because of IRO, they just sort of work. It just figures it out. So
So what I wanted to ask you, but I didn't a second ago was
yeah,
is when you say we, who is we?
I forget what context I said we in, but
Well, you said we helped develop this IRO and the
oh,
library
just
and
yeah, the open source developers of Fedimint. There's a handful of us.
okay.
And we have contributors sort of pop in and out sometimes, but there's maybe like 5 of us working on it full time or something like
Okay.
that. But
We're
yeah,
below the oak tree.
yeah.
I just saw acorns falling. Okay, these other developers,
hmm
are they open source funded or or are they doing it on their own dime or
Yeah.
just volunteers or
We have a mixture of all of it. So there's some from the Fedi company as well, and then there's others like me that are funded from various open source, yeah, like OpenSats and Spiral and stuff. And then also, yeah, we have some contributors that are just pop in to help out as well.
so
So
since I consider myself a developer now that I had a PR
get in there,
accepted,
Joe.
I had a
Yeah,
PR accepted, right?
yeah.
Which will be my next point.
Yes.
But so for developers like me or not, real developers,
Yeah.
if they wanted to scratch the itch of maybe finding out more about this and maybe contributing, where's a good place for them to go?
Yeah. So our GitHub is github.com /Fedimint. You can
Link below.
link below. You can pop in there, and there's a lot of issues to look at. I'd say the best place to get involved is just to get in the Discord. That's kind of where we collaborate, at least like
hmm
message wise. And then we have meetings. We have open source. We have open call meetings almost daily. We have a one on Mondays that kind of goes over the past week of like PR contributions. So if you're curious about like the specifics of the development, you can join that meetings at it's 11 a.m. Central Time on Jitsi, and you can get the link in our Discord. So
Okay, cool.
I'd say yeah, pop in those meetings, join the Discord, start reading stuff and submit some PRs. That's kind of how it goes.
So that was my transition. Right?
Yeah.
Is I wanted to talk about my first accepted PR ever, which was to the BitDevs
Yes.
GitHub, right? And no, in all seriousness, I did want to talk about you're beyond the Fedi stuff.
Yeah.
You're also the organizer of BitDevs Minneapolis.
That's true.
And so why don't you tell the people a little bit about what GitHub is or GitHub?
We can talk about GitHub too.
I need the class on GitHub. What BitDevs is, and BitDevs a little bit about BitDevs Minneapolis.
Yeah. Let's see. So
Or what inspired you to start it?
yeah, I can try to touch on all of it. BitDevs is great. BitDevs is like a sort of a broad. There's meetups all throughout the country that do BitDevs meetups, and so BitDevs is more of a developer focused, like technical. It's a Socratic seminar, so can talk about what that means as well. But basically, what happens is we meet every second Tuesday in Minneapolis, and I'll shill tcbitcoin.com again. We have
this is the best guest ever. He pitches the sponsor just without even being asked.
we have a wide variety of meetups, and this one's kind of the more technical. I don't want to call it developer like focus because we're not in there like reviewing PRs. That's
Right.
not really what we do. But we're talking about technical Bitcoin concepts. So we'll go over how Bitcoin works, new developments and research in Bitcoin, Lightning. We've talked about eCash and stuff before. You've been to most of them. We've hit on a wide variety of topics. I try to keep it a bit varied, right? Like we're not. it's not me just shilling Fedimint the whole time.
It
Talk
should
about.
be because that's all that anybody coming. That's all we're interested in is Fedimint. No, I'm
But
just kidding.
we keep it variety. We do have a pretty good technical crowd in the Minneapolis area now. So if you're even a technical person but you don't know much about Bitcoin, definitely come. It's a great meetup. But yeah, getting back on the Socratic part, the Socratic seminar, and like basically what that means is that it's geared to be a discussion rather than, it's not a presentation. I'm not trying to sit up there and just like impart knowledge to people. We're supposed to be talking about the research and development. So I really only organize the topic list, but the topic list is open source as well. So you can submit a PR, as Joe has, to talk about whatever you want, and I'll merge it. There's no review process. We'll talk about it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. On why I started it, I had been to a few other like mainly during conferences and stuff. I've been to like the Miami BitDevs and
Shout out Daniel.
and the Atlanta one.
Yeah.
And those were great. Those were just being a fly on the wall in those rooms is it'll make you smarter just being there, you know. And I thought, yeah, like I really wanted a space and a time to talk about like technical things, because the Minneapolis meetups are great. We do them at the O'Shaughnessy Distillery, but it was very and I would go to like almost every single one, right? And it was very common to like have conversations with people about like, oh, how'd you get into Bitcoin? Are you running a node? That kind of thing. And to me, they felt like it was getting a bit repetitive. So I was like, all right, let's talk about like cluster mempool. Let's talk about ARC. Let's talk about some of the newer stuff that's happening. And I just felt like the best way to do that is like, let's just have 90 minutes where that's pretty much all we do. So we've been doing it. It'll be 3 years in February.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm pretty proud of mainly the community that comes out every time to talk about this stuff with me and the other people there. And
I just want to add to that, just for anybody listening, it definitely is technical, but you don't have to be technical yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm proof, right? The only thing you need though is a genuine curiosity, right? And nobody, I am not a technical person. I'm a fucking realtor. So, I am not a technical person, but nobody's ever talked down to me or, whatever, as long as you're curious and there for the right reasons and not like,
shilling,
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Shilling coins or anything. Yeah, it's not accepted.
We'll tell that story at the end of this podcast. But no, honestly, it even though it is technical, it's not exclusive, and you won't feel like a moron because it like you said, you're not actually in like line 237 of the code and
Right.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It is broader, higher level, but it is higher level about the technicals. So
yeah, that's a stated goal. We're not trying to drive people away or make anyone feel dumb. I mean, a lot of the times, even when I'm there, I feel dumb. There's a lot of very deep stuff that
Bitcoin has that effect on you, doesn't it?
yeah. That's the whole rabbit hole meme, right? So, so we do it, like I said, every second Tuesday of the month at Improving Inc. This is an interesting time. We've been doing it there for about, like I said, about 2.5 years now.
Shout out Improving Inc. because they've been
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah. They're currently moving.
Yep.
So they were located in Northeast Minneapolis.
And last month there was a fire next door.
There was a fire, so we had to unfortunately cancel last month, or actually it was just last week.
We just rescheduled. We didn't cancel.
We still got together, but we didn't do the normal the normal Socratic seminar. But yeah, they'll host us again. They said like February timeframe, so we're kind of in the we're looking for a venue. So if anyone knows a venue,
Get in touch.
definitely get in touch. Otherwise, we'll figure out something. We'll maybe figure out a bit of a different agenda or something.
If Bob is done with my kitchen, maybe we can do it there.
But yeah, and I'm gonna keep, as I've always said, like even if it's just me and one other person there talking about Bitcoin, I'm gonna be there. So I really enjoyed doing it. Yeah.
So sort of back to BitDevs and like the open source community, right? So how has that changed how you think about you know, developing and things in general?
Yeah.
Were you a big FOSS guy before, or has Bitcoin changed you on that level, or?
That's a good question. I probably can't.
Because Microsoft is known for being just kidding. Sorry.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I probably can't with a straight face claim I was like super into open source before. I think I'd always been like ideologically aligned. But yeah, I was working on Microsoft and the code. Yeah, I always worked on proprietary stuff at Microsoft. I did work on like one database I didn't work on the open source part though. Um, but yeah, I think the working in the open is interesting. Like it takes a bit of a learned skill set, I'd say. Like everything that I try to do, everything that I do, like literally just on the internet. It's like every PR, every like or pull request, the code that's going in. We try to do in public, and then like even meetings that we do, we'll they're not private, but usually it's the same people that are joining. But if anyone wants to join and contribute, that's
I'm gonna crash them.
More than welcome. Yeah, building the open is something that I think it's a good tenet to live by. And yeah, with contrasting with Microsoft, I liked working at Microsoft. I don't want to like FUD Microsoft too much.
You can leave that to me.
There's a lot of good engineers there, but the process is definitely different. And yeah, the level of transparency I'd say that you need for like being in the open source realm is a bit it's different. And there's also different expectations, right? Like when you build something in the like for-profit land, there's a bit of an assumption of like an online service kind of thing, like the software as a service with companies. There's like on-call and all that. With open source, like we want to ship software that is to that like level of quality, but there's not necessarily anyone that's like on like waiting to like help you if something goes wrong, right? So because that the processes maybe have to be a bit better. Like ideally, like our documentation has to be really good, so the people know how to use it and stuff. And that's a challenge. Like it really requires a lot of discipline to document everything you do and make sure that it's easier for other people to get involved. Because ultimately, if I were to go away, or any of the other contributors, someone else should be able to pick up and continue like what the project's doing. Whereas usually at companies there's like a whole handover and everything. Just bit different worlds.
This is Colin's question. Being a developer and going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and being able to read the code and understand it better than most, right? What do you have any skepticism on the long-term viability?
Oh, just like Bitcoin in general.
Or let me put a twist on it too. Like, do you see vulnerabilities?
So that's a loaded question. I'd say like, when you're a developer and you're able to like read the code, that doesn't necessarily give you some sort of magical insight onto like the long-term viability of Bitcoin. I think there's some very prominent developers in the Bitcoin space that even disagree about like, the success probability of Bitcoin. And even, the Bitcoin code is a pretty big code base at this point, right? It takes a lot of work to really get in there and like understand all of the nuances. And I can't say that I've even done that, right? Like I mostly work on Fedimint right now. But no, I think like as far as my conviction, I love I love Bitcoin. That's why that's why eCash.love. It's a passion of mine. I think it provides a really useful just thing to the world, right? So I don't, I'm not going to sit here and have any epiphany about long-term viability. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I think it's only up from here,
Right on.
developer-wise and everything else too. So, yeah.
So what has Bitcoin taught you, or how has Bitcoin changed your worldview? Talking about that, has Bitcoin? I know for me personally,
Yeah.
once I got it, sort of everything changed. So has Bitcoin affected you that way, or?
I don't know, maybe like progressively over the long term. Definitely not like a 0 to 1 kind of thing. But yeah, it's the go back to proof of work. I think like that's more than just the name of the algorithm or whatever. People use that these days as just a term to describe putting in work, right? And I think that's really important. That's certainly for the open source stuff that I've done. Having proof of work, just being able to show like, here's what I've done. It's really, really important. I think I'd say that, I don't know if it's changed me, but I think it's solidified that like, that's like a core tenet of how you should go about, working in life and stuff.
So, okay, we're probably coming up on the magical hour, but
Okay.
so what? Just give me a quick, dirty, 30-second sales pitch for Fedimint, and why I should use it.
Easy private transactions. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Easy
Okay,
transactions.
So then
Bitcoin transactions, Lightning, eCash.
Now maybe we'll clip this part and put this at the beginning. Why should they download your app, and where should they find it?
They can download the app at ecash.love if you want a easy to use Bitcoin wallet. So supports Lightning, supports on-chain, supports eCash, Lightning address, Nostr Wallet Connect, and then various other sort of nerdy Fedimint things like the UTXOs.
And more coming, right?
And more coming. We'll keep adding features. Yeah, there's a lot we'd like to do with it, but that's where we're at right now. Like you said, you can get it on either Zap Store or ecash.love. And yeah, I'll reiterate, it provides a nice set of trade-offs. It's not a replacement for self-custody. It's probably not even a replacement for your Lightning node if you want to run a Lightning node. But for walking around cash, stuff like that, it's a useful tool. So give it a try. Yeah.
With that, I think that's where we'll wrap this, because you live in the middle of nowhere, and I'm going to be stuck in rush hour traffic. So
sounds good.
Thanks so much for coming on, and
Yeah.
I think we'll see who we can con into doing this next.